Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Danny, and today we're diving into a topic that can make a world of difference in your gaming experience, and that is player versus player, aka PvP. Now, whether you're new to PvP or you're a seasoned player, the mindset you bring to each game can either set you up for success or for a tough learning experience. Now, I'm not just talking about having a positive mindset. That is helpful, but what I'm talking about is a strategic mindset that enables you to read your opponent, adapt to different situations, and ultimately play things to your advantage and take away steps to improve game by game. Now, by the end of this video, you'll walk away with actionable steps to improve your game incrementally, a game at a time. So if you're ready to elevate your PvP skills, let's get right into it. So here we are, guys, with a solo shuffle. The composition we've got is we've got two arms warriors, a disc priest, one of the arms warriors is myself, we've got a devastation evoker, an arcane mage, a restoration shaman. So already from an arms warrior perspective, I'm already thinking this is a pretty tough lobby, and I'm thinking I want to communicate with my team. I want to let them know what target we're going, and we want to stick on that same target because it's pointless chasing them around. This arena is really big. So these are the points that you should be thinking about. First off, what is the target? What is the arena you're playing? How can you play it to your advantage? And communicate that to your teammates. So let's see what I actually do here. And what I'm going to be doing throughout this video is I'm going to be pausing it and stopping it just to talk through my my strategy and my mindset and what I'm watching. Now, for those of you that are new to PvP, this may look confusing, but like any game, there is a learning curve before you go into PvP. One big thing that I would like to kind of point out is that many people say you need 1 million add-ons to play PvP in World of Warcraft. Now, this isn't necessarily true, but in order to have the best reaction time and to truly understand the game on a level where you can improve quickly, add-ons are essential. Otherwise, you're putting yourself against a grind that can take a long time, and many people quite rightly don't have the resilience for that grind. So anyway, let's get into it. So you can see right off the bat that I'm already identifying that the mage is a difficult target here. So I'm looking at my talents and I'm kind of thinking, right, so I need to change to a shatter build in order, if we do go the mage, that I can destroy the ice block. However, my thinking at this time is that we need to go the devastation lock, and I actually do communicate this with my my team. So yeah, I communicated that with my team. I said we should go the devastation lock there, and then if I fast forward it, so let's get to the bit where, so we're about to engage here. The mage is going behind the pillar, which is a really smart move. So the devastation is going behind the pillar, which is a smart move. The druid and mage are in stealth. My warrior is already charging in. Number one tip as a warrior that I found out the past couple of weeks playing is don't charge straight at the enemy, only charge to catch up with an enemy. Use a cooldown for cooldown. So here the mage gets a DB, tries to get a ring, doesn't quite get me. My warrior is just pumping off here. I'm going for the slow, trying to get the rend up, and then I'm blade storming just to try and keep up and get a bit of damage. Now what you will see here is you will notice already my warrior is in Narnia. So despite communication, despite identifying the target, and as a warrior knowing my mobility isn't the best, I mean it's good, it's better than it was, I know that I need to essentially stay on a target to do damage. The uptime is how a warrior wins a particular matchup. My other warrior is in Narnia. I have no idea what he's doing now. So as you can see, I'm not actually tracking the devastation's cooldown. For some reason, Gladius EX doesn't seem to include devastation or any type of dragon cooldowns. I can't even remember the name of the race. I do apologize. Anyway, so my priest has got everything up. My warrior's already used his cooldowns. I've now using my burst cooldowns. Now I've got clear line of the devastation. One thing many low level players do, is they go in and they use all their cooldowns instantly. Now that isn't necessarily the case. I always believe in saving it for an impactful moment, but I do try and use them within the first 30 seconds. Now, what I am going to be thinking about all the way through here is minimizing damage from the mage if I'm targeted, potentially using my CDs accordingly and not just using them just because I'm taking a little bit of damage, and also using my defensives at high HP. So I'm trying to remember all this. I want to keep the slow up on the devastation and constantly just trying to be keeping a little bit of awareness on what is going on around me. So if we play this out, we can see the warrior. For some reason, the warrior is going the mage. So you clearly saw him going for the mage there. So this game is already, in my mind, is virtually lost because an arcane mage has infinite kiting potential. This map is huge. Yes, the devastation can kite, but with hamstring from 2 warriors kept up, it's a lot harder for him. And we can pump more damage, which means we're more likely to force CDs than the druid. And the mage is going to be, instead of doing damage, is going to be forced to peel. So see how those kind of steps can have a cascading effect. This is what we want to really look for. So you can see there, I'm taking a lot of damage now. So my first thought here is probably popping a defensive. So you can see that I actually used parry just before that, and now I'm trying to keep the uptime and just stay on this guy. So there's Osbeam Scales. That's one of the big cooldowns. I recognize that straight away. So you can see now the mage is starting to CC. I'm kicking that, doing anything I can to disrupt the damage, and it's just really now about uptime here for the whole entire period. But the warrior is still going for the mage. I have no idea why. And yes, he may be getting low, but the mage will literally just kite him around. The mage's barrage does so much. You can see my warrior is actually the target here. I don't think he's playing defensive stance, and he just decides to switch targets mid-go. I'm trying to mitigate the damage, but our healer is constantly CC'd. The warrior is not being topped. He's got no cooldown. Spell Reflect is down. And I'm just trying my best to just pump some damage in here. But honestly, the arcane mage is pumping. He's doing an awful lot of damage. And the warrior is just... Honestly, I'm not really sure what the warrior was doing there. I could have switched to the arcane mage, but I will be honest, a devastation evoker left unchecked is a lot more dangerous than an arcane mage in my eyes, and I honestly think a warrior should always go for the easiest target. So that was round 1. Didn't go in favor. We got a few cooldowns from the druid. We got both trinkets, but ultimately our healer was cloned and CC'd. He didn't have any trinket. We didn't kick the clone. I was on the devastation, so I stuck to my game plan. And in solo shuffle, this is definitely something that we should try and do. And obviously watching this back in retrospective is what could I have done? What could I have done that? I could have maybe interrupted the clone from the druid. I could have maybe gone the arcane mage. Would we have forced blocking to win? Probably not. However, if you look at the damage of the devastation evoker, you will actually see that his damage was mitigated massively, and that's actually because I was kicking him. And this is what we need to bear in mind. I didn't actually realize that mage was called Pika. Anyway, let's move on to the next round. So this round, you can already see that we've got, so you can see here, you can see I'm saying, let's go devastation. Now, again, I'm identifying the target. So we're getting in that practice of communication. We're establishing a game plan of what we're doing. I'm not sure if I took disarm here. I would always take disarm in this scenario. And again, I'll be saving my charge for the devastation. Although it's not a mage, so you know it's not as important. It's more important I keep hamstring up or some sort of slow. And also the mage's barrage has a reasonable slow effect. So we're going into it. I've already established. Oh, looks like I actually try and switch to disarm, but I'm too slow. So I think here I might charge in. No, so I Stoneball, Survival Instinct, and then charge. just to make sure I can connect. So I try and get hamstring on him, but for some reason I don't think I have enough rage there. So you can see now that I'm starting to get slows, and we somehow win that. I'm not really sure actually. Let's just rewind that back and actually look at what happened. So the disc priest is behind the pillar here. Now you can see he's still there, and the devastation, so this is actually the devastation's fault. He goes completely out of line of sight. The mage is now over here between me and the evoker. The mage isn't even CC'd. Doesn't use pain suppression. He's probably out of range of the mage's healing. Uses obsidian scales way too late, and then wonders why he is dead. And you can see the priest is there. So that's a great example of how positioning can be really unfortunate. And as an experienced PvPer, not somebody who is the best, I would definitely argue that being aware of what your healer is doing is a significant skill that you have to develop over time. So let's move on to the next round. So here you can see we've got devastation and arms. Not a terrible composition, and I think I identify that we should go for the warrior, and I say where's CCing the mage. So once again I'm on the warrior. Now the reason is it's easier for him to hit. We get quite a lot from the warrior here. He's already used spell reflect and he's popped his parry, so this is really good. So the warrior's popped his parry. I want to switch targets, so I'm immediately focusing in on the mage. I drop the fear, I go back onto the warrior just because I don't want to break that fear, and then I pop parry myself because I can see the warrior has got all his damage effects up. I've already disarmed him. Now, so there's Iron back. So already, first, I don't know, 30 seconds of the game, we've got a lot of cooldowns here. My healer is in a good position. He's away from the druid. We forced parry. They've got parry too. I've also knocked on my trinket. The warrior's still got his trinket. But we're doing some damage here, but you can see here I'm taking a lot of damage from the arcane, so I get the kick onto the ring of fire. It's not what I was hoping, but it's better than nothing, and I'm still just going away. So the priest now is in CC, and I know that I could potentially die here. So what you will find here is sometimes, or what you'll find is that running behind a pillar, lining of sight, and having that awareness, so you know, I can see it's come up on my screen, but I can see already. So you see that I'm aligning any damage to give my healer a chance to catch up. So then my healer's still in clone, but I can, so if you look here, the evoker makes a really big mistake. So the healer is in CC, the druid is already casting clone. Now what I could have done here, which would have probably been the better move, would to have been charge the druid and kick clone right at that point. But what I actually do is I charge the warrior to try and get a stun to stop him doing any damage, but the mage kills the evoker. So really there's two mistakes there. I could have charged in if my awareness would have been better, but I would actually argue that these frames blocked the druid, me seeing the druid, and what the evoker was doing. We had Dome, we had Fear, we had a lot of cooldowns left, so potentially, so the devastation through that round really, and I could have kicked the clone there, but again I didn't want to go out and cause even more damage, so it's kind of a tough one there, but I would argue the devastation did throw that a little bit. But what do we take from this in terms of mindset is always look for what you could do rather than what your team could have done. So moving on to the next round, I'm going to make this the last round, otherwise this video is going to be really long. So you can see already the mage is absolutely kicking ass. It is around a 1.9k lobby. The priest isn't having a great time, but trying to flame the healers. So you can see here, this is a good comp. We've got arcane mage and priest, and I know already the arcane mage is playing pretty well. He seems to do damage and CC when he needs to. So what I'm thinking here is that we just go the Devastation Evoker. I can just keep up damage on him, and then he's not going to cast freely. So what we want to consider here is, pretty sure I identify the target to him. I'm playing Disarm as well, so just let people know. You can see down there. So yeah, I said let's go to Devastation. So the warrior already runs in. So my priority here is I want to try and slow the warrior. I want to get rend up as well. So you can see I get rend up, but then the warrior then uses his big cooldowns, which is fine. Now would be a good time to disarm the warrior. I'm not even sure if I even do that. The mage is kiting quite well. So what I do here is to force some CDs. I pop my CDs, which arguably isn't the best move, but we need to force something here because they're doing big damage and we'll be behind, and the mage is already trinketed. So we force Ironbark. I think he overlaps this with Obsidian Scales. I then slow the warrior, try and slow him just so the mage can get a bit of time, and I'm also wanting to kick as many of the big damage incoming from the Devastation as possible. Now what you will see here is that I actually feared there, and that was because I didn't want my mage to block. I wasn't sure how many cooldowns he had left. I saw he had block, but if an Archmage blocks once, they're really vulnerable and they can be killed in like 2 execute or mortal strike crits. So ultimately I feared that to save that, and then I kicked that again, and we get some huge damage onto the Devastation there. Now there's Obsidian Scales. So okay, so now we're starting to turn the tide here. We're getting some big damage incoming. I stun the warrior there, and then the warrior's still got parry up, mind you, and so have I. So right now it's pretty even. We've got both trinkets of the DPS, and I'm still just chasing, keeping my slow up, doing maximum damage, CCing where I can. The mage is low, so you'll see again I'm kicking his disintegration. It's quite big damage, and I'm just pumping here. So what you'll see now, the warrior's in a really good ring. The druid is in the complete open, but we just kill him. I suspect that was probably the mage's damage, and there wasn't really much I could do there. I could have done a better job slowing. I could have disarmed the warrior in his open to stop a lot of the damage, because the Archmage did almost block. But we played our defensives well. The Disc Priest healed well, didn't get a CC'd, and ultimately we won the round. So I hope guys from this video you've learned how I kind of review my gameplay and how I look to improve and just look to have that awareness. The 3 tips that I would take from this is never ever flame the healer or blame the healer. Always look for what you can do. When you're looking for what you can do, try and figure out multiple scenarios of how you could have reduced damage, not died, got the winning CC, how you could have saved your teammates. Look for these things. And the third one is think about your position on the map and how you communicate with your teammates in order to get that positioning and to achieve the kill target. So there's definitely more than 3 in there, but communication of who you're going to kill really helps. Now, if you apply these to each solo shuffle you do, you're not going to get mad. Even if, you know, we go kind of 1 for 6 or, you know, 0 for 6, if you watch your gameplay back and you look at what you can do, you will actually find your teammates generally play better than you realize, and some of the mistakes could have been avoided. Your healer's been CC'd and you die, and there's so many times where I've seen people tell and rage over absolutely nothing, or say, well, I couldn't have done anything. I'll be completely honest, that's bullshit. There's always something you could do, and it's just an excuse for poor gameplay. Now, we want to bring new people into this game, and the only way we're going to do that is by being a positive community that supports each other, respects each other as players, and just fosters a really nice atmosphere for new players to come into. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. If you have enjoyed it, please do comment, like below. I also stream live on Twitch every day. The link is on the top of my YouTube page, so be sure to drop by and say hello. Thanks for watching.